Welcome to the ToKnight Show with Superintendent Shannon Cheek, your go-to podcast for staying in the know about all the exciting happenings in your local school community. We know that we are stronger together, so today's conversation is designed to give you a greater opportunity to be actively engaged in the success of our students. And now, Mr. Cheek.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Shannon Cheek, Superintendent here at Arthur CUSD 305. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. If you're not, thanks for tuning in again. Today, I'm pretty excited. If you've tuned in before, you've seen that we've kind of had a series going where we talk to students in the district, and we're kind of wrapping up that series today by talking to some high school students. So we're joined with 4 students today. I can't say that I'm not maybe a little bit nervous. I didn't get the questions in advance, so hopefully their questions are good, and I'm sure they will be. But I'm excited to have some conversations with these 4 today and see where it takes us. So before we jump in and ask some questions, let them start with questions. I'm going to go around and let them introduce themselves and maybe say who you are and what grade you're in, and if there's anything else you want to share, that'd be fine. So let's get introductions out of the way and then let's dive in.
I'm Kaylee Thompson and I'm a senior.
I'm Maddox Sterrett. I'm a junior.
I'm Abigail Miller and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Maxton Body and I'm a freshman.
Excellent. Well, thanks for volunteering. I hope you volunteered to come in today. I appreciate that. I'm going to let you ask some questions. I have some too, and if we have time, we'll get to those. But I think probably the more fun part's whenever you ask me questions. So I don't know who's going to lead us off, but go easy on me. So whoever's first, fire away.
It's an easy one.
Good.
The first one's, where did you go to high school?
You probably know the answer to this question, don't you? For some reason, right? So I went to high school in BMET, class of '89. So I grew up in Ivesdale, which is close to BMET, but that's where I went to high school. That was an easy one. Thank you.
Tell us about your process in getting into the superintendent position.
Okay, it's a good one, interesting one actually. So it started in high school. I went to Parkland. To be quite honest with you, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I went to Parkland because I felt like that was what I should do, not necessarily what I wanted to do. Went there actually. My first stint, I went for a semester and decided, you know what, I'm gonna work. This isn't for me. I just want to get a job, and so I did. And then I realized that, you know what, that wasn't really what I wanted to do either. So I went back to Parkland, spent a couple years there, decided, okay, I've taken several classes here. I still don't know what I want to do, but it's time to transfer. So I transferred to the U of I, went to the U of I and got a kinesiology degree, and became a PE teacher and coach. I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew I loved athletics, and I'm like, you know what, I think this coaching thing could work out. I want to try that. So my first job was at Heritage High School, was there a year, and then I got hired in Mahomet. And then frankly, I was working in Mahomet, and I had some colleagues say, hey, you should probably go back to school and advance yourself on the pay scale. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like a good idea. So I got a master's from the U of I, and I didn't want to just get a master's. I wanted it to be something that maybe I could use later on. So I got a master's in administration with no intentions of being a principal. But as time passed and as I worked in the district, an opportunity presented itself for me to be an assistant principal at the high school. At the time, the current principal encouraged me to apply, so I said, okay, I'll do that. And then so I was hired, fortunate enough to get hired, and then when he retired 5 years later, they asked me to apply for the principalship, and I took the job. And then, quite frankly, as I was the principal, it was about year 2 or 3, I think it was, we got a new superintendent. And he continued to hound me and said, hey, you need to really look into getting your superintendent degree because I think down the road you might be interested in that. And once again, I'm like, well, I don't think so. I probably wouldn't, but okay, I'll do it. So I got my endorsement, superintendent endorsement through Eastern. And then, frankly, my daughters were in a place. My oldest had graduated and my youngest was in a place where we had some conversation, and I said, I think I'm ready to do something different, but I don't want to have to move you. If you're interested in staying put, we'll stay put. She goes, no, I think I could do something different too. So that's what led me here. So kind of I didn't really have a vision at one time to say, this is where I want to do. I've always wanted to do it, but so that's kind of the road I took, the journey I was on. So I'm grateful. It's good. It's been a good move. So.
Yeah, this next question actually kind of goes along with what you just kind of said.
Okay.
It was, did you always want to be a superintendent?
So the honest answer is no. I mean, I didn't even know what they really did until I became a building level principal, and I started working side by side with our superintendent. So to be honest, it kind of was scary. Like I was like, I don't know. That's like finance and contracts, and I don't know if that sounds like something I can even do. So I would be honest with you, no. But I'm grateful that I have done it. It's been a good move. So good question.
My question is, what do you do on the weekends? What are some of your hobbies?
Well, I don't know if some of you have seen me around, but I do bike a lot. I started cycling when I was in Mahomet, actually with Mr. Seal. There was a group of 4 or 5 of us that got motivated to do that, and I do that a fair amount. My yard is almost like a hobby that usually your hobbies you enjoy, right? I would say that's a hobby that I enjoy in the spring, and then by about midsummer I'm over it. But I work in my yard quite a bit. But probably my main hobby would be cycling. So, have any of you seen me cruising around town? No.
I've seen you working on your yard.
Yeah,
I have
all
It
the
always looks
time.
very nice.
Well, thank you, thank you.
Okay. How soon are you going to retire, and what are your retirement goals?
Oh man, I don't know. Do you need me to retire? So the answer is I don't know. I'm eligible to retire in 3 more school years, so 3 more after this one. I could retire, but quite frankly, I don't know if I'll retire in 3 years or not. To be honest, I hope that we have a project going on at the high school that's so big that I want to stick around and see that through. I don't know if that'll happen or not, but that's one goal. My goals in retirement will completely center around my 2 girls. I would imagine at some point in time we're going to want to get where they're at and get involved in their lives more, and probably some grandbabies down the road, which will be cool. So, yeah.
Don't worry, that was not an incisive. That was not. We want you to retire.
I'm kidding, yeah. So 3 years I could, but I don't, I'm enjoying things. And I really mean, I've said it multiple times, this is a great district, a great place to be. So I enjoy it.
If you could join one of the clubs at the high school, which one would it be and why?
Oh, well, that is a good question. You got to give me some time to think about that one.
Okay.
What clubs would I join? Clubs or activities?
Could be either.
Could be either. Well, I was involved in athletics when I was in school, so that would obviously be an interest. I think if I could, I don't know if it would be a specific club, but I think one thing I wish I would have done more of was to be involved more on the student council or the government side of schooling. I wasn't really involved in that side, and I think it would have been good for me to do that. But I was pretty consumed with athletics when I was going through school. Not that that's bad, but I think I could have benefited from that. So, yeah.
My question is, how did you go from Bemit to Mahomet to Arthur, and why did you choose to leave Mahomet and come here?
Okay, so how did I go from BMint to
Mahomet.
College pretty much took me there. Honestly, when I graduated, I moved pretty quick after, and I actually ended up moving to Mahomet. That was a place that I moved there because the rent was cheap, cheaper than Champaign. I was going to Parkland, so it was pretty close. I just kind of picked it, and then honestly, the road just kind of took me to Mahomet in terms of, I student taught there is how I was connected. So student taught there, and then I got hired, I said, in Heritage. I was there for 1 year. And then actually I got a phone call one day from the head football coach in Mahomet and said, hey, I got an opening, I want you to apply. And so that's what led me to Mahomet, and what led me here was the superintendency. Honestly, I enjoyed my time in Mahomet. I was there 20 years. Very grateful for the opportunities I was afforded. Had a lot of fun there. But frankly, when I decided to take a soup job, I wanted to get back to what was a little bit more, what I was more familiar with frankly, is like an Arthur or Beeman or Arcola. That's the schools that I was familiar with and
Just like the
connected to.
smaller towns.
Yeah, it's a little smaller, a little more intimate. Mahomet's large. By the time I left, I think the high school was around 1,000. So the high school was probably as big as our entire district. So it was nice to just find a place that I could relate to and hopefully finish my career. So
I know you said you love the district, but if you could change one thing about the district, what would it be?
the high school building. If I could wave a magic wand and build an entirely brand new school, I would do that in a heartbeat. That's probably what I would change.
Would you like give it any more like, I don't know, like clubs? You know how like sometimes there's like bigger campuses at high schools, like they have different buildings. Would you do that, or would you like keep it as one big?
If I could wave a magic wand and money wasn't an issue, I probably would build a state-of-the-art high school that was all in one, with all new, brand new athletic facilities. I would probably consider, I don't know that I think if I understand you mean like some pods, different pods.
Yeah,
Or,
like almost kind of like some are like college campuses where they have like a separate athletic like department, and they have their high school, or they have like a separate ag building, or like they have things separate from their actual high school.
I would probably, I don't know that I would separate it, but I certainly would build, I would want to create a building that was, for example, just take this facility. It'd be nice to have like all on one floor, like math, science, all on one floor. So something like that would be kind of cool, I think, but certainly a new building. I think it would be that would be a huge goal that I would have. So, good question.
So it's no secret that we're the only school with no AC, but
It is no secret. You're
no
right.
secret. But is there a reason why the high school's the only one without AC?
Money, I'm assuming. This building is, it's a good building. It's a cool building, but it's older. And to put air conditioning in this building would be a large expense. You're talking not just about the air conditioning units, but the electricity would need to be upgraded, and that's no small task to do. So primarily financial. So that is in the plans down the road to probably try and tackle that, in addition to a big renovation project. I mean, you've probably heard some buzz about that. We're hopefully going to get that on the table again, and hopefully that'll be a part of it. But yeah, money. Yeah, it is hot, isn't it? I know, it's very hot.
Especially those heat waves at the beginning of the year.
And sometimes
were-
the end of the year, right? Sometimes we're
Yes.
faced with it in the end of the year when it heats up. So, and when this building heats up, it takes a while to cool off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially the basement. The basement gets really hot.
It gets sticky and the floors get wet. I know. Yeah.
The one
it's
thing that
bad.
does surprise me is how cool the shop stays.
Does it?
Mhm.
That's good. That is good.
Do you have any thoughts on improving our parking lot situation?
I hadn't noticed that it's a problem. No. Yeah. So we haven't done much with the parking lot. We fixed part of it. I'm assuming you're talking about the condition of, right?
The condition and the size.
And the size. So we are in the process right now of having some discussions. We had some focus groups, and those discussions, you're going to have some open houses before the end of May is out. So some of this information hasn't been put out yet, so let's just talk about it, right? We have plans to have some additional open houses to get some feedback from the community. With that, we're hopeful that we'll have a plan that we can put forth that will include a remodel and potentially tearing part of the building down and building new. So it'll be a mix. And as a part of that plan, it'll also include dealing with the parking lot, fixing and potentially adding on to. So that if that gets passed, next November. If we decide to go to a referendum and the public supports that, then all of that will come to fruition. If it doesn't, we'll have to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, now what? So that's kind of a long-term plan and a short explanation. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, because I have heard from lots of people like they would have to wait until people leave for blended to like park in their spot just to have.
It's crowded. I mean,
Yeah.
it's crowded on nights of events too.
Mhm.
So good question for sure. Kind of like our cafeteria. It can be crowded, right? Yeah.
What are your thoughts on building a new school, and what would you give the school that we don't have now? Like, what would you add on?
I think if we renovated or built new, and as we have the open houses, I hope that you all would come to those when we get the word out, because I think you're going to see a plan that will address a lot of our spaces. It'll allow us to, as we're saying, educate students as they should be in the 21st century. For example, you mentioned the shop. The plans would be to increase the size of the shop dramatically. I've talked to Mr. Kessler before and have talked to him about numbers of his kids in his class, and he says, I'm pretty limited from a safety standpoint because I don't have much space. So I think you'll see ag and industrial tech, or the shop classes, expanded. There's probably a lot that can be done if they had space, right?
Yeah.
STEM labs, science labs, I think we would obviously tackle those areas and make those areas more appropriately sized. And then just upgrades, right? HVAC, so air conditioning, plumbing, the plumbing could be upgraded. So yeah, there's a lot that could be done.
Because I do know that with one of Miss Uphoff's classes, like AgMech that Max is in, there's only 9 kids that are allowed, and so a lot of kids next year who wanted to take it aren't able to because there's a limited amount.
Yeah, I would love to be able to build a space that would be so awesome that if you are an ag teacher or if you're an industrial tech teacher, you would say, I want to come there, and we would have to have them come here because your class sizes would be so large.
Like
That'd be awesome.
Lots of schools even have like a separate ag building that they can raise their own animals, and they have like a shop like connected to that too.
That'd be a good experience, wouldn't it?
Because I
That would be cool.
think Oak Hall Valley has one.
They do.
And everybody raves about it, and they're like, they have a cow, they have goats, they have all the animals.
Yeah.
And
Be
then
pretty
kids
awesome.
just go and sit in there, and they take care of them and everything. So.
Very cool.
Do you ever eat the school's lunch?
I don't eat lunch here very often, not because I wouldn't eat it or don't want to eat it, but I typically use that time. I run home at lunch, and it's kind of my time to go home real quick and eat and just kind of get away and come back. So it's the answer would be, have I ever? Yeah, I have, but I don't usually. What about you? Do you eat school lunch?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, this one's about the SAT. So we do flex classes for SAT prep. Do you think that the SAT classes work, or that the SAT should even be required anymore?
Well, the SAT or the SAT prep class?
Both, I guess.
I think that's a good question. Should it be required? I think that it is very beneficial for you all to have an opportunity afforded to you to do the best that you can on that test. Because unfortunately, as you probably know, right or wrong, fair or unfair, there's a lot that rides on that test, right? There's a lot in terms of getting into school. There's a lot in terms of getting scholarship money. So I feel like it's a benefit. I feel like that it does provide you at least an opportunity to do the best that you can on that test. Do I think it should be required to get into colleges? And I mean, I think I'm mixed on that, to be quite frank. You've seen some colleges, quite a few, that have dropped that requirement to get in, but I think you're starting to see some bring it back. I personally don't feel like it defines who you are as a student or as a person. And I think I'm a great example, to be fair, of that test not defining the level of success you can have in college, because I did not do well on it when I was in school, and I ended up doing just fine, graduating from the U of I with 2 degrees in Eastern. And so I think in my case, if you looked at that, you would say, well, by definition, you shouldn't be where you're at. And I don't think that's fair. So that's kind of not answering your question directly, but it's kind of answering your question, I hope. Like,
Good enough answer.
I mean, whether or not we agree it's important, it is what it is, and I think us trying to provide you an opportunity to the best you can is a good thing. Tell me what your thoughts are related to it.
Personally, like
Mm-hmm.
going to college in just a couple months, like most of my colleges didn't really require a score,
Mm-hmm.
but then for scholarships they did.
Mm-hmm.
But like some colleges do a little like SAT or GPA, so it kind of just depends. But
Mm-hmm.
I did like having the SAT prep classes.
Good.
because I think maybe it did help a little. I mean, I didn't take it without them, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping it helped.
Awesome.
Why are our school improvement days not on Fridays?
Why are they not on Fridays? I don't know that I have a great answer for that, to be honest. I don't know that it matters what day they're on. I don't know if I have a good answer for you or not. Maybe Fridays would be better. I don't know.
I feel like a lot of people would agree that it'd be better to have it out on Friday.
A lot of students would
lot of
agree. I bet you would. Like getting out at 1:12 on a Friday would be good, right? So I don't have a great answer for you on that one. Should we consider that, you think?
I think we should.
Yeah.
You think we should?
Because
Maybe that can be a discussion.
It feels like Friday most days, most of those days anyway. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey, we can always discuss, right? So, how about my turn? Can I ask a
Yeah.
question?
of course.
You know what I'm really interested in? I want to know for each one of you, and be as long or as brief as you want. But what does it mean to be, we're the Knights, right? What's that mean to you? Like, and maybe all of you, because you're at different levels, have different perspectives on that. What do you think?
I think just have integrity, have pride that you are a knight, like be proud of being a knight.
I like that.
I'm pretty sure we talked about this whenever we had our meeting for it. I don't really remember what I said. I think I said something as like standing up and like being that person that people can like look to and like know they have somebody to trust and fight for them.
Awesome.
I feel that being a knight is doing what you believe in. It's what you think is right.
Very cool.
Being a knight is like very different for each level. So I think as high schoolers, like it's like being a role model. It's, standing up for what's right and just like showing like the younger generation. Yeah, I guess it's another generation that like showing them how to be a knight, I think is really nice.
Very cool.
Is there any way that you could make the spring break match the U of I?
I think that as we move forward, that can certainly be considered. Next year's calendar has already been voted on and approved, but yeah, I think that's something that, if it's something that's important to our communities and students and teachers, yeah, it could be considered.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do you think we should or will ever change our school mascot? And if we did, what would you want it to be?
Do I think we should?
Or like, will we ever?
Not as long as I'm here. I think the Knights are kind of who we are and who we're identified by, but no, I don't think there's any need to. If it was changed, what would I change it to? That's a good question. I mean, I grew up a Bulldog, so I wouldn't change the Knights to a Bulldog. Don't misunderstand that. But I did grow up a Bulldog, and it was a pretty cool mascot, I think.
Yeah, I think we're on to rapid fire questions.
Oh no, the rapid fire. So can I ask you before you put me on the spot with these questions?
Yep.
And I think that probably came from Mrs. Sigmiller because I did it to her and Mr. Seal too, right? So here's my question. You talked to me about the school. So I've got a couple questions. What would you change about our school? Whether it be, like I went down the path of what I would change would be kind of the structure, right? And upgrades. It can be that, or it can be maybe something, classes we should offer, or a school day being different, anything. But what would you change about our school?
I'm a freshman. I don't know much. But
Okay.
I think just
You know plenty. You know plenty.
people just complain about the structure, like you said, the parking lot, and then no AC, just stuff like that.
Okay.
Considering I am an FFA member, I would say the shop and just getting more room for that, and maybe even an ag building, because that would be an experience definitely that people would remember and take with them and be like, hey, like they would tell their kids, like, I grew up with an ag building, had animals I could take care of and everything, and I just think that'd be really cool. And also air conditioning. Definitely.
I think besides the things that we've already talked about, I think that, well, for the people that are listening in, I think it's important to know that we're very lucky to have open campus lunch. But I think that maybe it needs to be extended a little bit longer, like the
A little
lunch
longer
period.
lunch.
Because if you have open campus lunch and you're able to go to a restaurant, sometimes you're in a big hurry to get back in time.
Yeah,
You
I
have
can
to
see
try
that.
down your food.
Yeah, it's not much time, is it, to get out and
Especially
get
with the
back?
crowding in the cafeteria. It's like
Good
we all
point.
go there.
Good point.
I think I think structure, because I think because of where we're at, we try to improve everything else that we can, like athletics, like like the clubs, and like what classes we offer, because we can't really update the building right now. But I think like the areas, like like having all the math teachers in one area, which we do now, but like history's kind of all over the place, and I think it'd be nice to just kind of have like separate, like,
Your own identical space.
Yes.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Good. Good. Okay, let me take a deep breath here. I think I'm ready for the rapid fires. So who's gonna fire them at me?
well, we're just
All of you. You're just going around.
in
Okay.
order.
All right.
They're not crazy.
I'm ready.
But, do you drink coffee or tea in the morning?
Coffee.
Ooh, how many cups a day?
2. Usually about 2. Yeah. So not too
Not
excessive.
crazy.
Sometimes more. Depends on what time I go to bed. So
So
usually 2.
students aren't that bad. You don't need more than 2.
Oh no, no. Our students are great. Yeah.
What's your favorite kind of food?
So pizza probably. So Italian, I guess. Pizza.
What's your favorite kind of pizza?
My favorite kind of pizza is Filippo's. Have you had Filippo's before?
Had it
Yeah,
last
that's
week.
my favorite, hands down.
How many pairs of shoes do you own
Let's see, tennis shoes or regular or both?
in general?
1, 2, 3, 4. Probably 10. I probably have 4 or 5 pairs of tennis shoes because I do run a little bit too. So, and then dress shoes. So,
If you could be any animal, what would it be and why?
a dog.
A dog?
Oh yeah, I mean, because I've got 2. They're golden retrievers, and I know the life they live. So, I mean, get up, get fed, go on a walk occasionally, take some naps. What could be better, right?
If you have to eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Pizza. I think I could eat
Filippo's
cold pizza, you know. Oh yeah, yeah, for sure, Filippo's.
What is the first thing you would do with $1 million?
Can be in general.
Oh my goodness, $1 million. I'd like to tell you that I would spend it because that's what I'd want to do. Like I just want to buy stuff. As much as I'd like to tell you I want to do that, I wouldn't. I'd probably save it. I'd probably give it to my kids. I'd like to spend it though, because I'm always like that. Like I want to, oh, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to get, and then I get the money to do it, and I'm like, I better save that.
Yeah.
So, I suppose that's a good quality, I guess. But that's probably what I'd do.
What is your dream car?
My dream car, probably like a '69 Camaro. I think that'd be pretty cool.
We used to have a Camaro sitting in our garage.
Did you?
Yeah, my cousin, it was sitting there for 10 years. He was going to fix it up, and he's getting married this weekend, actually. And so him and his dad had taken it to his house, and they're getting ready to fix it up. And
Is it an older one?
It is.
Yeah,
I
that'd
think
be
it was
cool.
like, I call it red, but my mom says it's brown. Because it's like, it's got like the shine on it, so it's like a reddish brown.
Yeah,
So,
probably a Camaro.
yeah.
That'd be cool.
I remember we would try to open the doors, and the doors, like, they were stick. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
If you could vacation anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Summer or winter?
Anytime. You get to pick your time.
Summer, I'd probably go to Colorado. That's where I'm heading this summer. It's pretty awesome.
that's where he was born.
I was born there.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Littleton.
So I've been to Estes Park, and we're heading to Breckenridge this summer. I just think the climate there in the summer is amazing. No humidity, no bugs, about 70, 75. It's perfect. Yeah. So
What about winter?
winter, Arizona or Florida because it's warm.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm all about the warmth. So winter's hard on me. Not a fan. Not a fan.
Especially Illinois winter.
Yeah. Wind.
It can be brutal.
I hesitate to say no snow because I can see if I say no snow, what'll happen next year. So
Okay, last one.
last one.
Are you on TikTok? And if so, what's your favorite trend?
I am not on TikTok. Honestly, the only social media I do regularly is Twitter, or X, I guess it's called now.
Would you be willing to make a TikTok with us?
Yeah, I'd be willing to make a TikTok. Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We'll have to.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Set it up and let's get it done. That's it? Those were easy. You had me all nervous. Mrs. Sigmiller had me nervous for this, and you guys were awesome. And I mean this sincerely, like your questions about what it means to be a knight. If you go back and you look at the other podcasts that we've done with the littles all the way up through junior high, now high school, there's a common theme. And I think that's what draws me here and keeps me here is that's what makes us good. Like those answers, those are the things that are important, right? I mean, those are the things that are going to make you successful. Not that academics aren't important, not that athletics aren't not important, not that those clubs we offer are not important, but you're learning to just be a quality human being. And that goes from the top to the bottom in this district, and that's what I'm most proud of. So this is a good place, and it's a good place because of our students. So I appreciate you going easy on me today. Is there anything else you want to ask before we wrap things up?
Oh, I got one.
I shouldn't have asked.
If you had to change your name, what would you change it to?
I don't know, but you know what? That's been a challenge my whole life because of my first name. Like, what do you think of the mail I get, like junk mail? What do you think it says? Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I like my name, but that could probably, if I had to change it, I don't know. That's a tough one. I was trying to think of something really unique.
I feel like since you always like live with your name, you can never imagine yourself with another.
I don't disagree. I don't know. I'll have to give that some thought. Maybe we can come back to it. How's that? Okay. Is that it? Okay.
I think that's it.
I do appreciate you giving up your time to come and visit with me. I did enjoy it. It was fun. So, you know, I encourage you to come to those open houses and let's get in here and see what we're going to offer and have some fun with that. And I hope the rest of the school year is thumbs up. So, TikTok.
Oh,
Let's do it.
yep.
So, all right. Thanks for coming. I appreciate you tuning in. Again, the high school was a lot of fun today. Hopefully you enjoyed and learned a lot. I know I did. And again, hopefully you tune in later for future episodes. Again, Shannon Cheek, Superintendent. It's Arthur CUSD 305.
Thank you for listening to The ToKnight Show, a broadcast of Arthur Lovington Outwood Hannon Community Unit School District, number 305. Special thanks to today's guests. This podcast is produced for you by the Arthur Lovington Outwood Hannon Broadcasting class.